Some news doesn't just knock. It feels like it breaks the door down. It lands like a thunderclap, and in that deafening silence that follows, we're all faced with a choice. A choice about who we are and what we're going to do next. So today, we're talking about how to face that exact moment with courage and with integrity.
How are the mighty fallen? Welcome to another edition of the Doer's Digest. These are ancient words absolutely dripping with sorrow, but they also happen to be a powerful guide for navigating the losses in our own lives. We've all been there, right? You get that call, that email, that piece of news that just stops you in your tracks. It's a universal human experience. But how we respond in that very first moment, well, that can define everything that comes after.
Our anchor text for today's digest is 2 Samuel chapter 1. And it's this incredible story of David getting the news that King Saul, his rival, his enemy, is dead. And in the same breath, he learns that his best friend, Jonathan, is also gone. This ancient story is frankly a masterclass in how to receive devastating news, how to name your sorrow, and how to honor what was lost, even when it's really, really complicated. David's gut reaction is just fascinating. Instead of throwing a party because his enemy is gone, he grieves. He completely shuts down the messenger who tries to spin the news for his own personal gain. And by making his grief public, he actually leads an entire nation away from revenge and toward a place of healing. It's such a powerful lesson in character. So, how does this ancient story translate into something we can actually use today? Because this isn't just a history lesson. It reveals 3 core truths that are absolutely essential for any doer, any leader, really for anyone who's facing a moment of profound loss or disruption. The first truth is this: grief is not a private failure to be hidden away. Things like weeping, or in David's case, actually writing a song of lament, those aren't signs of weakness. They are the disciplined, faithful language of a human heart. It's a response that we can offer with real intention and courage. Second, a tender heart is completely non-negotiable. Think about it. David had every opportunity to use Saul's death to seize power, to gloat, to settle old scores, but he just refused. And this illustrates such a crucial point. Let your losses make you more tender, more human, not more cruel or opportunistic. And that brings us right to the third truth. Honest sorrow, it actually gets you ready for what's next. Truly mourning what was lost has this way of burning off all the petty ambitions and the distractions. It clarifies what really matters, and it focuses your heart on the real work of faithfully rebuilding. So, knowing the principles is one thing, but what do we actually do? How do we put this into practice when the thunder strikes for us? This next section is the most actionable part of our digest. It's a clear, practical guide for navigating loss with integrity. All right, here are the 6 steps. Number 1, just stop. Don't rush into action, just receive the news. 2, name the loss. Say it out loud. 3, actively avoid exploiting the situation for any kind of personal gain. 4, if you're in a position of leadership, offer a public word of honest sorrow. 5, create some kind of small personal ritual of remembrance. And finally, number 6, take one steady next step forward. Not a giant leap, just one steady step. This is where the rubber really meets the road. Because knowing what to do is half the battle, right? But knowing what to say to yourself and to others, that's the other half. So let's look at some scripts and a few real-world scenarios. Think of these as words you can borrow when you can't find your own. To yourself, it's just a simple acknowledgement. This is hard, I will name it and then act with care. To your team or community, it's a statement of shared values. And as someone who might be gloating, it's a gentle but firm course correction. These simple phrases can be incredibly grounding in a chaotic moment. So what does this actually look like? Let's say a leader at your company passes away or leaves unexpectedly. Now, the typical response is to rush to fill the power vacuum. But this principle says to pause. Hold a respectful forum. Let people share memories. You honor the past, and you create a much healthier foundation for whatever comes next. Or think about a friendship that ends badly. The temptation is to immediately jump online, right? To tell your side of the story, to defend yourself. But the discipline that David models for us is to pause, to grieve the loss of the relationship first before you even decide how or if you're going to respond publicly.
And this even applies to our plans. A project you poured your heart into gets canceled. A dream you were chasing just evaporates. Before you pivot to the next thing, mark that loss. Take a walk. Write it down in a journal. Just acknowledge what was hoped for and what was lost. That small act lets you move forward without carrying all the unresolved weight of that disappointment. So, where does all this leave you? We've walked through the story, the principles, the practical steps. But why does this matter so much? I mean, why should a doer, a builder, a leader care so deeply about grieving well?
Because grief isn't just an obstacle to get through, and this is the pep talk I really want you to hear. When we approach it with integrity, grief actually becomes a refining fire. It's not about the pain itself, it's about the purpose we can find inside of it.
I want you to really let this sink in. Grief is not a pause in your mission. It is part of the mission. It is the very thing that clarifies what you are truly called to do next. Mourning well doesn't delay your future. It secures it. It makes sure that future is built on a foundation of truth, not on rubble. Ultimately, your refusal to take the cheap win, your refusal to celebrate another person's downfall, that is its own kind of victory. It's a victory that preserves your soul and it protects your community. So be honest in your sorrow, be tender in your heart, and then be steady in your next step. Let's just take a moment to close with this prayer. Lord, teach me to grieve with honesty and to refuse the cheap comfort of triumph over loss. Give me courage to honor what was lost, wisdom to act with integrity, and a steady heart for what comes next. Amen. If you found this helpful, please go ahead and like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. That way you'll be the first to know when our next digest is released.